Welcome to Career Compass, mapping your future. Visit yourcareerrevolution.com today to get your free guide on the benefits of working with a career ownership coach. Take some time to think about your thinkings, take some time to reflect on it. And let's see, I'm sure all of us have something in our life that's holding us back, and we may not even be realizing it. What do you say, Doc?
Yeah, so thank you very much, and hello to our listeners again. So T, you kind of hit the nail on the head, right? The thing about limiting beliefs is they are very subtle and they are very sneaky. So this is one that really takes true intention to pause and to really reflect on and to validate or invalidate those beliefs. And really, for the most part, limiting beliefs show up more as things like doubt, self-doubt, fear, worry, and really though, just blocking you to dream, right? To imagine, to really not have that level of confidence in what you are truly capable and can possibly do because of things like past experience we're still holding on to, or others telling us what you can't do that. That's a crazy idea, right? And those kind of things. So subconsciously, we start to believe that. And that just really limits our thinking and our beliefs of what truly is possible and what we're capable of doing. So it just kind of squashes that dream and that fire and that passion for what truly could be.
No, absolutely. And I think it probably even happens on a daily basis, right? We have to stop and actually start listening to what we're telling ourselves. I mean, how many times a day do we maybe think, oh my gosh, do you know what? You can't teach an old dog new tricks, or, I'm getting too old for this. Or maybe a young person thinking, like, oh gosh, I feel like an imposter. What am I doing in this boardroom? Or, the CEO is asking me for my opinion. Right. So, I mean, it seems so subtle and it seems so innocent, but those stories that we're telling ourselves may not actually be facts. They may be lies. And if we keep on repeating them, we may actually start believing them. As a matter of fact, there was a study. Let me just find where that was. Oh, yeah, by Gartner, right? Where they interviewed business leaders. And would you believe that 50% or more actually lack confidence as leaders? They feel like imposters. They feel like they're going to be caught out because they're not qualified. They're a fraud. I mean, my goodness, I would love for you to comment on why do we do this to ourselves?
So I think there's a couple of things that really drive this. And a lot of it is just kind of ingrained in us, sort of human behavior as emotional creatures. But it's several things, right? The first I think we've touched on, a couple episodes ago is that fear, right? We believe that we have to show up a certain way. We want others to perceive us a certain way. And so if we step out, what are we doing when we step out, especially into things we might not have done before or we might not be that well trained in, we're equipped to do, but maybe we specifically haven't done that thing yet. So the story we tell ourselves is, well, what happens if I mess up? What are people going to think of me? Right. So right from the bat there, we're kind of setting ourselves up for that limiting belief. And then subconsciously, again, that really kind of suppresses our true ability. So again, just that questioning ourselves in something that we may not be familiar with, the unknown, again, that societal acceptance, us wanting to be liked. We're the boss, so we can't make up, the cliche saying, never let them see you sweat. Right. And, you used one earlier, and they're cliche sayings for a reason, right? Because societally, they're true. Right. So that's kind of even at that level, with coaching executives the way I do, there's times when those limiting beliefs do crop up and show up as, again, fear, doubt, or worry.
Mhm. Yeah. And, the one thing that strikes me about a belief, it is a belief, it's not fact.
One of the things that the renowned psychologist Carl Rogers said is that which is most personal is most universal. So I think, kind of as a fundamental starting point, it's important to realize that if you're feeling that way, right, if you're feeling stuck and wondering if there's more and why is things not better and how can I improve and what's going on, you're not alone. And I love that you gave out that website for resources. It is really a good referral point. So one of the things I think that really contributes to that fundamentally is self-sabotage in the form, more specifically, of negative thinking. And I think a lot of our listeners can relate to that. I know I've been there many times. So it's really that self sabotage and the negative thinking. And I think we'll get to this later, but the sneaky thing about self sabotage and negative thinking is a lot of times we tend to do it on autopilot because of our upbringing, our programming, our circumstances, our emotions. So that's kind of the starting point for this whole discussion, I think.
Yeah. So what was that thing that you said again? What is most personal is actually also universal?
Most universal.
Yeah. So so I'm not the only crazy one. I think so many times we suffer from imposter syndrome, right? Like, we think people think that maybe we know more, and we're scared that they're gonna think we're a fraud, or maybe we just don't have the confidence because it's something we've never done before or something we haven't been exposed to. So talk a little bit about imposter syndrome and self-doubt.
So it's so funny that you mentioned that imposter syndrome because I think we've all heard it, we've all seen it and read about it. But I just like to share a quick story. So when I was in the military, I did 26 years in the Air Force. My final 3 years, I was the first sergeant for the Air Force Thunderbirds. So prior to getting to the team, it was a very, very lengthy application process to even make it through the door to be interviewed by all the officers on the team. So I was in my office one day and got the call from the Thunderbird commander saying that I got hired for the job and I got picked. Like out of all the people that applied, I got it. So I ran out into the orderly room, high fiving people, handing out cigars, kissing babies, called my wife. The very minute I went through that emotional high and sat back down in my chair, the first thing that crept into my mind is, what did I just get myself into?
Mm.
Seriously, the Thunderbirds? Who am I? Like, am I gonna be good enough? So I started playing that game, you know, and I called my wife and kinda told her how I was feeling, and she said, "Well, you know what? If other people believed enough in you to hire you, then why don't you believe in yourself?"
Oh my
And
gosh.
that was a really, really good question that kind of anchored me, allowed me to refocus, reframe, and then just really think through the process again. So it's funny you mentioned imposter syndrome. It's a very real thing. And it can be crippling if we allow it to be, right? Hold us back from progress, hold us back from giving our best to the world when we know that we have it, but we're afraid to do it because what will people think? What if I mess up? What if I misstep? What if I don't deliver what I say I can, right? So you start, the little drunk monkey starts running around in your brain and painting that picture. And it's really easy to fall into that trap of belief until we stop it and challenge it. One of the things I truly believe that drives this more than anything else, and I did research on this for both my dissertation and my book,
Mhm.
is the thing we call societal acceptance, right? Or that need for belonging, approval addiction, whatever name you want to associate with it. It's proven by theory, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, McClellan's human motivation theory, and the list goes on. But basically, we as human beings, emotional creatures, search for and look for that societal acceptance, belonging to a tribe, something bigger than ourselves. And craving that, the ironic side of it is that sometimes we can crave that so much that we put the pressure on ourselves to wonder if we're good enough, if we're going to succeed. Can we really fit in? Can we contribute? So I think it's kind of that paradoxical irony, right? That we crave that societal acceptance, but at the same time, we don't want to look bad, right? So then the negative thinking can come in. And what's some of the first things we do? Well, I remember that one time when I tried X and I fell flat on my face, right? So then we got historical association to, well, it happened then, so it's probably going to happen now, right? Without validating. So we let those kinds of things creep in. And it can truly be just a cycle until we choose to consciously become aware of what we're doing, step in and break that cycle.
It's mindset,
Right.
right? If you think there's limited opportunity, there's gonna be limited opportunities because you've told yourself so. If you open up your mind and just become curious and start observing, you will see that, oh my gosh, the world is your oyster. There's a book, I haven't read it yet, but as I was thinking about today's episode, the title of the book is Be Careful or Don't Believe Everything You Think. I can't wait to read it because I think it will be very eye opening. Maybe you've read it, just to really pay attention to what you're thinking. Just because you're thinking it doesn't mean it's true or even helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. And if I could real quick throw out another resource for our listeners, and this is one that my professional speaking mentor had me read when I first started with him, and it's called What Do You Say When You Talk to Yourself by Dr.
Okay.
Shad Hamstetter. And
Oh.
it's all about self-talk and the power of self-talk and how that affects our subconscious without us even knowing it. And then it turns into behaviors, beliefs, attitude, right? And it starts showing up. So that's another really, really solid book around self-talk and how you can use it to leverage in a positive way and how it can also drag you down in a negative way.
Again, it's all about the thinking, right? So, a couple of things that we can do. Some of the most powerful things is the hardest part of that is just, again, the self awareness around the times that you're doing it. Like being able to catch yourself. You make a mistake. And I don't know how many times I've done this, but I'll make a mistake. The first thing that pops into my mind is, Doc, what an idiot,
Hmm.
right? I mean, so that kind of sets the stage for what's to follow, right? So in those moments when you could catch yourself and say, now, not give yourself some grace, step back and emotionally detach from the situation, and then look at it logically, right? Look at what happened. Look at what led up to that particular impact moment and decision point, and then really evaluate what caused it. Was it really something that you did? If it was, accept it, fix it, move on. If it wasn't, identify it, work with someone who can help you correct it, and then move on.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please go to yourcareerrevolution.com and request your free guide to the benefits of working with a career ownership coach. Thank you so much for listening.